Earth needs women. No, this is not the obligatory ecological post. Today, in the car on the way from dinner, not cooking at Thanksgiving is logical when you have only 4 people, 5 with our friend honorary uncle to the kids. I was talking to the kids about a book I read when I was maybe 12, 13. This book, whose name I unfortunately can't remember, came amid a trio of fairy tale books. At 12 or so, I decided that I hadn't read enough fairy tales and was trying to round out my education. This one looked like a 19th century book with woodcuts, was written by some unknown Portuguese author, and the title was something like The Foundling. It started with a baby girl found abandoned in a forest. She's taken in by an older woman who gathers wood and who makes a good if unloving foster mother. Half bored, I felt I knew where this was going, but continued reading, expecting the more or less obligatory hidden princess story. I was wrong. Though I no longer remember the details of the book, yes, I read it a good 100 times, as it became one of my favorites, but it was a long time ago, and memory gets blunted. I know that the parentage of the girl is never revealed. The old woman dies, the girl is turned out of the house, she ends up working as a maid in some other menial jobs. Her work ethic and what my friend Dave Freer calls battler spirit get her through. She helps an old lady who is dying and who no one looks after, and, in return, is given an old book of recipes. She starts her own little business selling cakes and pastries at fairs, and meets a young man of very good family who, however, does not marry her because, of course, she's a foundling of unknown parentage. Eventually her little business becomes a successful pastry shop, and later she meets another young man, a pastry chef, and this time it all works out, and they marry and have a happy family and a successful business. If you'd asked me at 12, I'd have told you I had no idea why the story charmed me as it did. I only knew I liked rereading it, and it became one of my favorite books. It felt good and somehow right in a way that fairy tales and romances didn't. Today, when I telling the kids about it, I realized why. It was because the character was a strong woman. Born with the ultimate disadvantage, the ultimate lack of support, she doesn't like fairy tale princesses, either get rescued by a strong knight, nor even by fate that reveals her to be a hidden princess. Also, she never complains, she never repines, she takes the situation she finds herself in, and makes the best out of it, all the while looking out for those who are weaker or in more need than her. This last characteristic nets her the all-important recipe book supposedly created by a medieval convent, which rings true for Portugal, and lost for centuries. When her romance doesn't work because her very conventional suitor wants a girl of suitable family, she doesn't go into a decline, she just goes on with life. She is, in fact, what editors so often say they want: a strong woman heroine, self-sufficient, a good role model for growing girls. Only, from my observation and reading, by this they usually mean mouthy, aggressive, foolhardy, and complains a lot about men till one wonders if said character has an issue with being born female. There are exceptions, of course, but complaining about fate and men and being bitter seems to be obligatory. And yet, it is true that this type of character is not only a great role model for young women, she is the type of role model we do need. Earth needs women, yes, and men, but we are talking women here who take care of the weak and helpless. Earth needs women who don't whine. Earth needs women who cheerfully shoulder the burden of what needs to be done. Earth does not need women who complain about men all the while neurotically obsessing on clothes and jewelry to attract said men, and pursuing the highest status males they can possibly get. There is nothing wrong with these activities in moderation, but when they become the focus of existence, they create a generation of infantile harpies. Now, I don't think any women in real life are as bad as that, but almost all women characters in books and movies are just like that. Young women who watch these characters end up feeling they must appear like them, or they'll be thought weak. And this is wrong. Strength in women and men can be defined not as throwing weight around, but in doing what must be done for oneself and those who depend on one. Earth needs grown-up women. I very much hate to tell people what to do, much less what to be, but I wish we could set about writing and living role models for the women Earth needs. If you like this content and want to support this channel, the blog, and Sarah's continued writing, please like and subscribe. If you really enjoy the content, please come and join the fun at accordingtohoyt.com.